Captain Daeho Kim checked his display for the third time in 10 minutes. The patrol route around Colony 7 was supposed to be boring. That was the point. 6 soldiers, 1 small transport ship, and 8 hours of watching empty space. Standard duty for the Earth Defense Force. "Contact," said Corporal Yoonji Park from the communications station. Her voice stayed calm, but her fingers moved faster across the controls. Small vessel, dead in the water, 3 kilometers ahead. Daeho leaned forward. "Life signs?" "Scanning now." Yoonji paused. "Yes, multiple, but there's something else." 2 more ships nearby. They're armed and moving toward the disabled vessel. Private Minho Choi was already at the weapons station. His hands rested near the controls, not touching them yet. "Good discipline." "Pirates?" he asked. "Could be," Daeho said. He opened the squad channel. "Yuna, Sang-hoon, Jinseo, gear up. Standard boarding protocol. We're going to check this out." Private Yuna Lee was the squad's medic, but like everyone in the EDF, she could fight. She grabbed her rifle and medical pack in one smooth motion. The other 2 soldiers followed her example. In 90 seconds, all 4 were ready at the airlock. The transport ship moved closer. Through the viewport, Daeho could see the disabled vessel more clearly now. It was strange. Beautiful even. Smooth curves and colors that seemed to shift in the starlight. "Nothing like human engineering, Captain," Yoonji said quietly. "Those armed ships are opening fire on the disabled one." Daeho didn't hesitate. "Minho, defensive positions. Yoonji, hail the attacking ships. Standard warning." He switched to the squad channel. "Everyone stay sharp. We don't know what we're dealing with." The attacking ships ignored the warning. They were smaller than the human transport, but moved with purpose. Their weapons tore into the disabled ship's hull. Atmosphere vented into space like blood from a wound. "They're not stopping," Yoonji reported. "Then we stop them," Daeho said. "Minho, target the engines. Disable only. We're peacekeepers, not executioners." What happened next took 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Minho's targeting was perfect. 2 shots, 2 disabled engines. The attacking ships tumbled away, helpless. The human transport moved alongside the damaged vessel. Daeho's boarding team entered through an emergency port. Inside was chaos. The ship's interior was vast and strange. Gravity felt lighter. The air smelled like flowers and metal. Bodies lay scattered across the floor. Some were moving. Some were not. They weren't human. That much was obvious. One looked like an insect the size of a man, with 4 arms and crystalline eyes. Another was covered in scales and had too many fingers. A third seemed to be made of shadows that only half existed. Yuna moved to the wounded without hesitation. Her medical training covered humans, but life was life. She found the bleeding spots and stopped them. She found the broken parts and stabilized them. The aliens made sounds she didn't understand, but fear and pain were universal. Sang-hoon and Jinseo swept the ship for threats. They moved like they'd been taught. Watch each other's backs. Check every corner. Stay ready. They found 3 more pirates hiding in a cargo bay. The fight was over in seconds. Non-lethal takedowns, restraints, standard procedure. Daeho found what he assumed was the bridge. One alien sat in a chair that seemed to grow from the floor. This one looked different from the others. Taller. Its skin had patterns that glowed faintly. It was injured but conscious. "We're here to help," Daeho said, knowing it probably couldn't understand. He made his weapon safe and set it aside. Universal gesture. "I'm not a threat." The alien stared at him. Its eyes were too large, too bright. It made sounds that might have been words. Then it touched a device on its arm. A voice came out, speaking perfect English. "You saved us. You are warriors?" "We're soldiers," Daeho said. "Earth Defense Force. Are there more injured?" "Soldiers," the alien repeated. The word seemed to confuse it. "Your elite guard? Your champions?" Daeho frowned. "No, just regular patrol." "Are you the captain?" "I am Ambassador Thelrin of the Galactic Council." The alien's voice through the translator was shaking. Not from injury. From something else. "You defeated 2 pirate vessels in moments. Your warriors moved through my ship like death itself. How many are you?" 6, Daeho said. "Is that a problem?" Thelrin made a sound the translator couldn't interpret. 6 of your Apex warriors. Your special forces. 6 was enough. "We're not special forces," Daeho tried to explain. "We're regular infantry. Basic training. Standard patrol duty." The alien stared at him for a long moment. "Impossible. I watched your soldier disarm 3 armed pirates in seconds. I watched your medic treat wounds she had never seen before with no hesitation. I watched your weapons officer disable 2 ships with 2 shots. This is not possible for basic soldiers. Deho didn't know what to say to that. What they'd done was normal. Textbook even. Any EDF squad would have done the same. We just did our job, he said finally. Thelrin touched his communicator again. He spoke rapidly in a language that sounded like music and breaking glass. Then he looked back at Deho. I have sent a message to the Council. I have told them that humanity has made contact. I have told them what I witnessed. That's good, Deho said. We've been hoping to meet other intelligent species. This isn't how I imagined it would happen, but no, Thelrin interrupted. You don't understand. I have told them you are dangerous. I have classified your species as apex predators. I have recommended immediate quarantine protocols. Deho felt cold. We saved you. Yes. And that makes it worse. Thelrin's translator captured something that might have been fear. Do you know how long the Galactic Council has existed? 10,000 of your years. Do you know how many species have joined us? 47. Do you know how many were classified as apex predators? 0. Until now. Back on the transport, Yunji was monitoring the communications. Captain, she said over the private channel, I'm picking up a lot of traffic. Multiple ships are changing course toward our position. Big ships. Hostile, Deho asked, unknown. But they're talking about us. The translator software is struggling, but I keep hearing the same words. Dangerous. Lethal. Unprecedented. Yuna finished treating the last of the wounded. She joined Deho on the alien bridge. They're all stable. I don't know their biology, but I did my best. They'll live. She looked at Thelrin. Why does he look so scared? We helped them. That's why he's scared, Deho said quietly. Over the next hour, more ships arrived. They kept their distance. The messages kept coming. Requests for information. Demands for explanation. Warnings. Finally, one message stood out from the rest. This is the Galactic Council Fleet Command. The translator spoke. We acknowledge the human vessel and thank you for your assistance to Ambassador Thelrin. We extend an invitation for formal diplomatic contact. We request that you send representatives to Concord Prime, our neutral station. However, we must insist that your representatives be civilian only, no military personnel. For everyone's safety, Deho read the message twice. They're afraid of us. 6 regular soldiers, Yunji said. And they're afraid. Minho laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Wait until they find out Earth has 40 million of us. The message was sent back to Earth Command. The response took 3 days. When it came, it was simple. Earth would accept the invitation. Ambassador Sujin Han would lead the diplomatic team. They would bring no weapons. They would follow all council protocols. But at the bottom of the message, marked for Deho's eyes only, was a note from Admiral Park. You did good work, Captain. But you've also opened a door we can't close. The galaxy knows about us now. They're scared of our regular soldiers. Let's hope they never learn what scared actually means. Deho looked out at the alien ships surrounding them. Huge vessels with weapons he couldn't identify. Hundreds of them just to watch 6 human soldiers. Let's hope, he repeated quietly. The transport ship began its journey home. Behind them, Thelrin was already writing his official report. In it, he would describe the humans in detail. Their speed, their precision, their complete lack of hesitation, their impossible coordination, their casual attitude toward violence. He would call them the most dangerous species he had ever encountered. He would recommend extreme caution in all future dealings. He would suggest that humanity be contained before they could spread across the galaxy. And he would end his report with one simple question that would keep the Council awake for months. If these are their regular soldiers, what are their special forces? Ambassador Sujin Han had taught history for 15 years before joining the diplomatic corps. She understood how first impressions could shape centuries of relations. That's why she felt nervous as her ship approached Concord Prime. The station was enormous. It floated in neutral space, far from any star system. Hundreds of ships orbited it like moons. Each one represented a different species, a different civilization. Through the viewport, Sujin could see designs that made no sense to human eyes. Ships that looked like crystals. Ships that seemed to be alive. Ships made of light itself. It's beautiful, said Dr. Jiwon Kang, the team's xenobiologist. She pressed her face against the viewport like a child. I never imagined anything like this. Stay professional, Sujin reminded her gently. We're representing all of humanity. On the military ship traveling behind them, Lieutenant Colonel Hyunwoo Nam watched the same view with different eyes. He counted weapons ports. He analyzed defensive positions. He calculated response times. It was his job to keep the diplomatic team safe, even though he wasn't allowed to leave his ship. They're scared of us, he said to his aide. Look at the formations. They're not greeting us. They're surrounding us. The aide nodded. Should we be worried? Always, Hyunwoo said. But not yet. Fear can lead to respect. Or it can lead to war. We'll find out which. The diplomatic team docked with Concord Prime. The airlock opened. Sujin stepped through and her breath caught. The interior was impossibly vast. The ceiling was so high she couldn't see it. Gardens grew in impossible places. Water flowed upward. Light came from everywhere and nowhere. Dozens of aliens waited for them. Some walked. Some floated. Some moved in ways that hurt to watch. At the front stood a creature that looked like a fusion of reptile and machine. Its scales were metallic. Its eyes glowed. Ambassador Han, it said. The translator made its voice sound formal and cold. I am Marshal Vrennick, Supreme Commander of Council Defense Forces. Welcome to Concord Prime. Thank you, Marshal, Sujin said. She bowed slightly, a gesture that meant respect in most human cultures. She hoped it worked here, too. We have much to discuss, Vrennick said. Your species has caused significant concern among the council members. Please follow me. They walked through corridors that seemed to change shape. The station was alive with activity. Aliens of every description moved past them. Some stared. Some hurried away. A few made gestures that might have been threatening or might have been greetings. The meeting chamber was circular. Seats ringed the walls, each designed for different body types. In the center was a raised platform. Sujin and her team were led there. It felt like standing in an arena. Vrennick took a position across from them. Behind him, screens lit up. We have analyzed the incident involving Ambassador Thelron. We have studied every second of the encounter. We have consulted with our finest military strategists. We have one question, how? Sujin glanced at Jiwon, who looked just as confused. I'm not sure I understand. How what? The screen showed footage from the pirate attack. Sujin recognized Daeho and his squad, though the angle was strange. The video played at normal speed. Then it slowed down. The humans moved through the alien ship like a precision machine. Every step was coordinated. Every shot was perfect. Every decision was instant. How did 6 soldiers achieve this? Vrennick asked. Our analysis shows tactical precision that exceeds our elite forces. Your weapons officer made 2 impossible shots. Your medic treated unknown physiology without hesitation. Your boarding team cleared a hostile vessel in under 2 minutes. These are not the actions of regular soldiers. But they are, Sujin said. Captain Kim's squad was on routine patrol. They have standard training. They're good at their jobs, but they're not exceptional by our standards. The chamber filled with sounds, aliens talking to each other. The translator struggled to keep up. Words like impossible and deception kept appearing. Vrennick raised a limb for silence. Ambassador Han, please understand our position. The Galactic Council has maintained peace for 10,000 years. We have done this through careful military balance. Each species contributes warriors to the collective defense. These warriors train for decades. They are the finest their civilizations can produce. They number in the thousands, not millions. And by our analysis, any one of your regular soldiers could defeat 10 of ours. Sujin felt cold. You think we're lying. We think you don't understand what you've shown us, Vrennick said. We believe you truly see these soldiers as normal. That is what frightens us most. Jiwon stepped forward. May I speak? When Vrennick nodded, she continued. I've studied your species data. You come from gentle worlds, low gravity, mild climates, few predators, abundant resources. Your evolution was peaceful. Earth was different. High gravity, ice ages, megafauna that hunted in packs, constant resource competition. Humans didn't become persistence hunters by choice. We evolved that way because anything less meant death. An alien that looked like a floating jellyfish spoke up. You're saying your entire species consists of apex predators? No, Jiwon said. We're saying we come from a world that made us good at survival. That includes fighting when necessary, but it also includes cooperation, adaptation, and learning. We're not monsters. We're just products of our environment. Vrennick studied them for a long moment. Show us. Show you what? Sujin asked, "Your military structure. You claim these were regular soldiers. You claim you have specialized units. You claim you have special operations forces. We don't believe superior warriors exist. Prove it." Sujin wanted to refuse. This felt like a trap, but she also understood that fear was driving this. If the council believed humanity was hiding something, relations would never work. "I need to consult with my military advisor." They gave her a private chamber. She contacted Hunwoo on a secure channel. "They want a demonstration. They want to see different levels of our military capability." Hyunwoo's face on the screen was thoughtful. "That's dangerous. If we show them too much, if we show them nothing, they'll assume the worst." Sujin interrupted. "They already think Daeho's squad was our elite forces. They can't imagine anything more dangerous." "Can't imagine," Hyunwoo repeated. "That's the problem." "Ambassador, I've read the psychological profiles. These species haven't fought a real war in millennia. They have honor duels, champion combat, ritualized conflict. They have no concept of total war. If we show them what humans can really do when pushed, we might start the very war we're trying to prevent." "So what do we do?" Sujin asked. Hyunwoo thought for a moment. "We show them just enough. We bring in a specialized unit. Not special forces, not even rangers. Just specialists, engineers, snipers, technical experts. Show them that our military has depth. Let them process that before deciding whether to see more." Sujin nodded slowly. "Can you arrange it?" "I'll have a team here in 3 days," Hyunwoo said. "But Ambassador? Be careful. Every time we show them what we can do, we're rolling dice. Eventually, we might roll wrong." The 3 days passed in careful diplomacy. Sujin met with council members individually. She learned their concerns. She listened to their fears. She tried to explain human history without making it sound like a horror story. It was harder than she expected. How do you explain the world wars to species that think 100 casualties is a catastrophe? How do you describe the Cold War to aliens who can't imagine weapons that could destroy planets? How do you talk about human resilience to beings who have never faced real extinction threats? On the 3rd day, a small human ship docked. Staff Sergeant Taejin Roh led his team onto the station. 5 soldiers, each one specialized in different skills. They wore standard uniforms. They carried standard weapons. They looked professional but not threatening. Vrennik arranged for them to use the station's training facilities. Council champions gathered to observe. These were the finest warriors from a dozen species. Each had trained for decades. Each was considered unbeatable in their specialty. The first test was individual combat, simulated environment, non-lethal weapons, one-on-one. Private First Class Soman Jang, the youngest member of Taejin's team at 21 years old, stepped into the arena. She looked small and uncertain. Her opponent was Krethix, an alien that looked like an armored bear with 6 arms. He had been champion for 40 years. He had never lost a match. He entered the arena with confidence. The match lasted 30 seconds. Soman moved with speed that seemed impossible. She used angles Krethix didn't expect. She turned his size against him. When it ended, Krethix was on the ground, disarmed, confused. The watching aliens were silent. Vrennik spoke first. "Who is she?" "Your champion?" "She's a private," Taejin said. "Lowest rank. She graduated basic training 8 months ago." That night, Sujin received angry messages from a dozen council members. They accused humanity of mockery. They claimed the demonstration was designed to insult them. They demanded explanations. In her quarters, Sujin sat with Jiwon and Hyunwoo's hologram. "This is going badly," she said. "They're not angry," Jiwon said. "They're terrified. We just showed them that our youngest, least experienced soldier can defeat their greatest warrior. They're trying to process what that means." "It means they'll either accept us or try to destroy us," Hyunwoo said. "There's no middle ground now. We've shown them too much and not enough at the same time." Sujin looked at the messages piling up. Demands. Threats. Pleas for information. What have we done? "What we had to," Hyunwoo said. "Now we wait and see if it was enough." Staff Sergeant Taejin Roh understood that he and his team had become political tools. That was fine. Soldiers were used to being tools. The question was whether they would be tools for peace or weapons for war. The council had demanded more demonstrations. Not wanted, demanded. 3 days after Summon's match, the real tests began. Vrennik designed them personally. He called them training exercises. Everyone knew they were tests of human capability. The training facility was huge. It could simulate any environment: deserts, oceans, cities, space stations. The Council had used it for centuries to train their champions. Now it would measure humanity against their finest. 12 species had sent their best warriors. Not just fighters, tacticians, strategists, veterans with decades of experience. They gathered in observation rooms above the facility. Hundreds of them. All watching. All judging. Tejan briefed his team in a small room that smelled like flowers and metal. This isn't about winning. It's about showing them who we are: professional, controlled humans. Stay calm. Follow the rules. Make every shot count. Specialist Hana Song checked her rifle for the third time. She was the team's sniper. Quiet, patient, deadly accurate. What if they try to provoke us? Make us look bad? They will, Tejan said. They're scared. Scared people do stupid things. We don't. We're professionals. Sergeant Junho Park laughed. Professional stupid? That's what my drill instructor called us. He wasn't wrong, Tejan said. But we're their professional stupid now. Let's make them proud. The first real test was small unit tactics. The scenario was simple. A building held hostages. Armed hostiles controlled the entrances. Rescue the hostages. Neutralize the threats. Standard operation. The Council sent 30 of their finest warriors. They had 30 minutes to plan. They had all the equipment they wanted. They entered the simulation with confidence. Tejan watched from the observation room with Vrennik. The Council warriors moved carefully. They communicated constantly. They followed their doctrine perfectly. Honor demanded they announce themselves. Training demanded they offer surrender terms. Protocol demanded they minimize damage to the structure. It took them 43 minutes. They rescued 21 of 25 hostages. They neutralized all hostiles. By their standards, it was a successful operation. Your turn, Vrennik said. His voice through the translator held challenge. Tejan's team of 4 entered the same simulation. They had 5 minutes to plan. They used 3. They carried standard equipment. Nothing special. Nothing the Council warriors hadn't seen. What happened next was analyzed for months afterward. The humans didn't announce themselves. They didn't offer surrender. They didn't worry about the structure. They moved like water flowing downhill, taking the path of least resistance but never stopping. Hana found a position with sight lines to 3 entrances. Her shots were precise, non-lethal but instantly incapacitating. Junyo breached a wall that the Council hadn't considered breachable. Soman and Taijin flowed through the building like smoke, appearing where they weren't expected. Always moving, never stopping. 8 minutes. All hostages rescued. All hostiles neutralized. 0 casualties on either side. The building was a mess, but everyone was alive. The observation room was silent. Vrennik stared at the display showing the operation replay. How? Training, Tejan said simply. We practice this scenario weekly. Different variations. Different complications. It's basic for us. Basic, Vrennik repeated. He sounded like he was tasting poison. Your basic training includes this? Yes, sir. Urban combat. Building clearing. Hostage rescue. Every infantry soldier knows this. A Council member spoke up. It looked like a bird made of crystal. You destroyed property. You showed no honor. You treated the hostiles like objects. We treated them like threats to innocent lives, Tejan said. Property can be replaced. Lives cannot. And honor doesn't save hostages. The bird alien made sounds that the translator struggled with. This is not warfare. This is butchery. Tejan kept his face neutral. With respect, sir, everyone survived. If this was butchery, the hostiles would be dead. We chose not to kill them. We could have. That silenced the room. The implication was clear. The humans had held back. Significantly. The second test was strategic planning. The Council presented a military problem that had taken their strategists 2 weeks to solve. Defend a colony from a superior force with limited resources. Classic scenario. Hundreds of variables. Dozens of possible solutions. They gave Tejan's team 30 minutes. Tejan used 10. He looked at the problem, recognized the patterns, and applied doctrine. Divide the enemy. Use terrain. Create kill zones. Force them to fight your fight, not theirs. When he presented his solution, the Council strategists were quiet. Finally, one spoke. This is identical to our conclusion, but you added elements we didn't consider. Civilian evacuation, supply chain disruption, psychological warfare. You solved in minutes what took us weeks. Different training, Teijin said. We're taught to see the whole picture. Not just the battle, the war, the peace afterward. Everything connects, Vrennik stood. His metallic scales reflected the lights. Enough demonstrations. I need to understand something fundamental. Why are you so good at warfare? Teijin considered the question. Permission to speak freely, sir? Granted. We're not good at warfare. We're good at survival. Earth taught us that nothing comes free. Every resource must be fought for. Every day could be your last. Every decision matters. We didn't become warriors because we wanted to. We became warriors because anything less meant extinction. An alien that looked like living shadow spoke. Your world tried to kill you, so you learned to kill it back? No, Teijin said. We learned to survive it. Killing is easy. Survival is hard. Survival means adaptation, cooperation, learning. We learned to work together because alone we died. We learned to think quickly because hesitation meant death. We learned to use everything around us because resources were scarce. Jiwan stepped forward from where she'd been observing. If I may add something. When Vrennik nodded, she continued. Earth's gravity is higher than most of your worlds. Our atmosphere is thicker. Our weather is more violent. Humans evolved to run for hours, to sweat to cool down, to throw objects with precision, to track prey across vast distances. We're not stronger than you. We're not smarter. We're just built for a harder world. And now you bring that hardness to the galaxy, the shadow alien said. No, Teijin said firmly. We bring discipline, control, the choice not to use what we're capable of. That's what makes us human, not our ability to fight. Our decision about when to fight and when to show mercy. That evening, Teijin found Krethix in one of the station's gardens. The champion sat alone looking at Earth through a viewport. Beautiful world, Krethix said when Teijin approached. Blue and green and alive. It is, Teijin agreed. May I sit? Please. Krethix gestured with 2 of his 6 arms. I wanted to speak with you. To understand. I trained for 40 years. I studied every combat form. I meditated on the nature of conflict. I became champion, and your youngest soldier defeated me in seconds. How am I supposed to feel about that? Teijin sat quietly for a moment. How do you feel? Obsolete, worthless, humiliated. Don't, Teijin said. You trained for 40 years in your way. Soman trained for 8 months in ours. Different methods. Different goals. You're not obsolete. You're specialized for your civilization's needs. We're specialized for ours. Your needs include being able to defeat anyone. Our needs include being ready for anything. There's a difference. Krethix, I've watched your combat footage. You're amazing. Your technique is perfect. Your form is beautiful. You fight with honor and grace. Someone fights to win and go home. Neither approach is wrong. They're just different. Krethix was silent. Then he said, Teach me. What? Teach me your way. I want to understand. Not to become human. To become better at what I am. Teijin smiled. I'd be honored. Over the next week, something unexpected happened. The council champions stopped seeing the humans as threats. They started seeing them as teachers. Hana gave lessons on marksmanship. Junyo showed them how to use environments creatively. Soman demonstrated close-quarters combat. Teijin taught tactical thinking. The council warriors were frustrated. Their decades of training hadn't prepared them for human methods. But slowly they adapted. They learned. They grew. Vrennik watched it all. One day he called Teijin to his office. The space was simple, functional, military. You're changing my people, he said. Is that bad? Teijin asked. I don't know yet. They question their training now. They wonder if everything they learned was wrong. Not wrong, Teijin said. Just incomplete. Your training works for your civilization, for the threats you face. But the galaxy is bigger than you knew. There might be worse things than pirates out there. Like humans? Vrennik asked. Teijin met his eyes. Like whatever made humans this way. We didn't evolve in a vacuum. We had predators too. Things that hunted us. Things we had to overcome. If those things still existed, they'd be worse than us. Because we have restraint. We have morality. We choose mercy. Whatever hunted us didn't. Vrennik's scales seemed to darken. You're saying there might be species more dangerous than yours? I'm saying the galaxy is large. And humanity spent millions of years learning to survive. Not by being the strongest. By being the most adaptable. By working together. By never giving up. Those traits don't make us special. They make us human. That night, Vrennik made his decision. He sent a message to the council. Not a warning, not a threat, a recommendation. Humanity should be welcomed into the council, not as warriors, as teachers. They have much to show us about survival, about adaptation, about what civilization means when you come from a hard world. Not everyone agreed, but enough did. The vote passed. Humanity was offered membership, with conditions. They would send military advisors. They would share training methods. But they would not deploy their forces without council approval. Sujin accepted the terms. It was a beginning. Not perfect, but good enough. Tajin received orders to stay on Concord Prime, to continue training council forces, to build bridges between species. He accepted without complaint. It was his duty. As he stood in the garden with Krethix one last time before the champion returned home, Krethix asked, "Will we ever see your special forces?" Tajin looked uncomfortable. "I hope not." "Why?" "Because if you see them, it means something has gone very wrong." 2 weeks after humanity joined the Galactic Council, Marshal Vrennik made a request that worried everyone. He wanted to see human special operations forces, not to test them, not to challenge them. To understand them, Sujin argued against it. "We've shown them enough. We've proven humans can fight. We've demonstrated our training. Why push further?" "Because he's scared," Hyunwoo said. He'd finally been allowed onto Concord Prime after humanity's formal acceptance. He keeps thinking about what Tajin said. If those were regular soldiers, what are special forces? It's eating at him. At all of them, so we show them and make it worse? Or we show them nothing and they imagine something worse than reality? Hyunwoo paused. Though I'm not sure what's worse than reality. After 3 days of debate, Earth Command made the decision. They would send a special operations team, not the most elite, not the ones who did things that stayed classified forever, but real operators, professional, experienced, dangerous. Major Shungo Yoon received his orders with mixed feelings. He'd spent 15 years in special operations. He'd done things he couldn't talk about in places that didn't officially exist. Now he was being asked to be a show pony, to demonstrate what he and his team could do. "It's political," he told his team as they prepared for departure. "We're not there to fight. We're there to be visible, to show them we're professionals, not monsters." Master Sergeant Boris Shin had been with Shungho for 8 years. She knew him well enough to hear what he wasn't saying. "You think this will end badly. I think once you show someone what you're capable of, you can't unshow them. And we're very capable." The team arrived at Concord Prime quietly. 4 operators. They wore simple uniforms. They carried standard weapons. They looked unremarkable. That was intentional. Special operations worked best when you didn't look special. Vrennik met them personally. His scales seemed to shift colors as he studied them. "You don't look like warriors." "That's the idea," Shungho said pleasantly. "Sir, with respect, we're here as observers, to answer questions, to help with training if requested. We're not here to demonstrate." "I understand," Vrennik said. "However, I've arranged something. A scenario. A test, if you will. Not for you. For my people. I want to see how they handle a situation with your team observing. He'll provide feedback afterward." Seungho didn't believe that for a second. But orders were orders. "Of course, sir." The scenario was set for the following day. A remote station. Hostile takeover. Hostages. Standard situation. Council forces would respond while the human team observed. Except at midnight, the scenario became real. Actual pirates attacked an actual remote station. Took actual hostages. Made actual demands. It wasn't a coincidence. Vrennik had arranged it. He'd leaked information to pirates. Set up the perfect situation to observe humans in real crisis. Shungo figured it out in about 30 seconds. "You set this up." "I provided an opportunity," Vrennik said calmly. "The pirates are real. The danger is real. The hostages will die if no one acts. I have council forces preparing to respond. They'll arrive in 2 hours. Or you could go now. Your choice. No pressure." It was pressure, obviously. But it was also 200 lives hanging in balance. Seungho looked at his team. Bora's face was blank. Technical Sergeant Dong-Yun Lee was already calculating approach vectors. Staff Sergeant Mirai Kwan was studying the station layout. "We'll need a ship," Seungho said. "Already waiting," Vrennik replied. The flight took 15 minutes. The team used the time to plan. No communication, just hand signals and shared experience. They'd done this type of operation dozens of times. Different stations, different hostiles, same basic problem. Non-lethal if possible, Shungo said. We're guests here. Let's act like it. They docked at an emergency port the pirates weren't watching. The station was old and sprawling. 3 levels, multiple sections, 40 pirates spread throughout, 200 hostages locked in the central hub. 18 minutes later, it was over. The pirates were unconscious and restrained. The hostages were safe. 0 casualties on either side. The team never fired a shot. They used stun weapons, improvised tools, and environmental factors the pirates never considered. Seung-ho and his team returned to Concord Prime to find chaos. Vrennick had broadcast the entire operation to the council. Every member had watched. Every military commander had analyzed. Everyone had questions. How? Vrennick asked. It seemed to be his favorite question. How did 4 soldiers clear an entire station in 18 minutes? Training, Seung-ho said. Practice, experience. Sir, this was routine for us. Standard operation. We've done this before. Routine, Vrennick repeated. You treated a crisis situation as routine, because it was. 4 operators, 40 untrained pirates. Clear advantage to us. The only complication was keeping them alive. Killing is faster. We chose harder. A council member who looked like a tree with too many branches spoke up. You're saying lethal force would have been easier? Always, Seung-ho said. Killing is simple. Capture requires precision, control, judgment. We could have cleared that station in 5 minutes if we'd used lethal force. We took 18 because we wanted everyone to live. The chamber erupted, aliens arguing. Some demanded humanity be restricted. Others wanted to learn more. A few suggested humans be deployed immediately to handle all pirate problems. Vrennick called for silence. Major Yoon, I need you to help me understand something. Your regular soldiers are formidable. Your specialized soldiers are superior. Your special operations forces are apparently unstoppable. What exactly is the limit of human military capability? Seung-ho considered his answer carefully. Sir, there's no easy way to explain this. Human military doctrine is built on escalation. We have regular forces for standard operations, specialized units for complex operations, special operations for critical missions, but we also have things beyond that, units that don't officially exist, operators who do jobs that can't be acknowledged. And even they're not our most dangerous capability. What is? Vrennick asked quietly. Our regular citizens. Earth has 8 billion people. Most of them could fight if they had to. We train children in schools. We have veterans in every city. We have a culture that values survival and adaptability. If Earth was truly threatened, every human becomes a soldier. That's our real capability, not our military. Our civilization, the chamber was silent. Completely silent. Even the translators seemed shocked into quietness. Bora spoke up for the first time. Sir, if I may add something. We don't want to fight. None of us do. Every human soldier I know would rather be home, with family, living peaceful lives. We're good at warfare because we had to be, because Earth gave us no choice. But now we have a choice. We choose peace. We choose cooperation. We choose to use our capabilities to protect, not destroy. Over the following days, Seung-ho and his team worked with Council forces. They shared techniques. They explained doctrine. They demonstrated tactics. But they also learned. The Council species had perspectives humans lacked. Patience, honor, ways of thinking that didn't come naturally to humans. Mirai spent time with Council psychological warfare experts. You use shame? She asked. As a weapon? Of course, the alien explained. Honor is everything to many species. To shame a warrior is to defeat them without violence. We use fear, Mirai said. Intimidation, making the enemy too scared to fight. But shame, that's interesting. Different, maybe better in some situations. Dongyun worked with Council engineers. They showed him technologies humans hadn't developed. Gravity manipulation, energy fields, self-repairing materials. He showed them improvisation. How to make weapons from tools. How to turn any environment into an advantage. You think like predators, one engineer said. Everything is a potential weapon. We think like survivors, Dongyun corrected. Everything is a potential resource. Sometimes that resource is a weapon. Sometimes it's shelter. Sometimes it's a way home. But not everyone was happy with human presence. A faction within the council saw humanity as a threat that needed to be contained. They called themselves the Preservation Group. They believed the galaxy was fine before humans arrived. They wanted humanity quarantined to Earth. They made their move on the 8th day. A dozen ships surrounded the human vessels. Weapons charged. Demands made. Leave immediately or face force. It was a stupid move. Desperate and stupid, Sung-Ho's team was on the military ship with Hyunwoo. They knew something was wrong before the ships appeared. Small signs, communication patterns, ship movements. When the Preservation Group made their demands, Hyunwoo responded calmly. "You don't want to do this. You're outnumbered," the Preservation leader said. "Surrender or we open fire." Sung-Ho leaned over to Hyunwoo. "They've never fought humans before. They don't know what we can do. Show them, just enough to make the point." What happened next took 12 seconds. Dongyun disabled 3 ships with precision electronic warfare. Bora hacked their communication systems and filled them with human military frequencies. Mirai transmitted psychological profiles that made the Preservation Group members question everything. Sung-Ho calculated firing solutions that could destroy all 12 ships and sent the data to each captain personally. The message was clear. "We could end this. We're choosing not to." Back down, they backed down. The Preservation Group scattered. Their leader was arrested by Vrennik personally. The crisis ended, but the damage was done. The Council had seen what happened when humans were threatened. They saw the speed, the precision, the complete lack of hesitation. "We could have died," Vrennik said later. "If you'd chosen violence, my entire fleet would have died." "Yes, sir," Hyunwoo said. "But we didn't choose violence. We chose to show strength and offer mercy. That's the human way. At least it's supposed to be." "And if we'd fired first?" Hyunwoo met his eyes. "Then you would have learned why humans survived Earth, why we're so good at warfare, why we train the way we do. You'd have learned that making us fight is the worst decision anyone could make. Because when we fight for survival, we don't stop until the threat ends. That's not a boast. It's a warning. Don't make us fight, please." Vrennik's scales shifted through colors humans couldn't name. "I understand now. Why you held back. Why you keep holding back. You're not showing us what you can do. You're hiding it. To protect us from being scared. To protect yourselves from being monsters." "Yes, sir," Hyunwoo said quietly. "Exactly that." The message arrived at midnight station time. Priority 1, emergency broadcast. A border world called Threshold 9 was under attack. Not pirates. Something worse. Something the Council had feared for decades but never truly faced. The Vakresh swarm. Hive mind. Biological ships. Numbers that seemed infinite. They'd been probing Council space for years, testing defenses, learning patterns. Now they were attacking in force. Vrennik called an emergency meeting. His scales had lost all color. "Threshold 9 has 2 million civilians. The swarm has cut off all escape routes. Our defense fleet is responding. 50,000 warriors, our finest, but reports suggest the swarm numbers in the hundreds of thousands." "How long can Threshold 9 hold?" Sujin asked. "Days, maybe a week. Our forces will arrive in 3 days. They'll evacuate who they can, fight for the rest, but..." Vrennik couldn't finish the sentence. Hyunwoo understood. "You've never fought a total war. Your warriors are champions, heroes. They're not prepared for this." "No," Vrennik admitted. "We're not. And I must ask something I have no right to ask. Will Earth help?" Sujin didn't hesitate. "Yes, but Earth Command must approve force deployment. That takes time. We don't have time. Then I'll give you what I can." She turned to Hyunwoo. "How many can you deploy immediately?" 3 ships, 600 soldiers, mixed units, regulars, specialists, and a special operations team. It's not much. It's everything," Vrennik said. "Please." The 3 human ships arrived at Threshold 9 before the Council fleet. They found chaos. The swarm ships were biological nightmares. They moved like insects. They attacked like viruses. They died hard and bred fast. Thousands of them filled the space around the planet. Daeho Kim was on the first ship, full circle from that first day with the pirates. His squad had been rotated to a different duty station, but when the emergency call came, they volunteered immediately. Now he stood on the bridge watching the swarm and feeling cold. "They outnumber us 100 to 1, Yoonji said from communications. "Maybe more." "Then we make every shot count," Daeho replied. He opened the command channel. "All units, listen up. We're buying time until Council forces arrive. We don't need to win. We just need to survive. Use everything you learned in training. Everything you know. Make them work for every meter. The battle began. Human ships moved differently than the swarm expected. They didn't follow honor codes. They didn't fight fair. They used angles and speed and precision. They targeted weak points the swarm didn't know they had. On the surface, Tajin's team was coordinating defenses. The Council forces on the ground were brave but disorganized. They fought like champions. Individual heroes doing their best. It wasn't enough against the swarm. We need to reorganize, Tajin told the Council commander. Combine your forces. Create defensive lines. Support each other. That's not how we fight, the commander protested. Your warriors will die if they stay scattered. Please trust me. We've done this before. The commander looked at Tajin for a long moment, then nodded. Tell us what to do. What followed was a crash course in human military doctrine. Tajin explained combined arms. Infantry supporting each other. Heavy weapons providing covering fire. Medical teams staying behind front lines. Supplies moving through protected routes. Everything working together. The Council warriors struggled. It went against their training. Against their culture. Against everything they knew about warfare. But slowly they adapted. They learned. They began to work as units instead of heroes. When the Council fleet arrived 3 days later, they found something unexpected. The humans and Council forces had formed a unified defense. The swarm was still attacking but making no progress. 2 million civilians were safe in shelters. Casualties were minimal. The situation was stable. Marshal Vrennik landed personally. He found Deho coordinating orbital strikes with ground forces. How? He asked. Deho smiled tiredly. We taught them what we know. They taught us what they know. We combined both. Turns out humans and Council together are stronger than either alone. The swarm didn't give up. They kept coming. Wave after wave. Testing. Probing. Learning. But so were the defenders. Council warriors learned human tactics. Human soldiers learned Council honor. Together they held the line. Sungo's special operations team was running deep reconnaissance into swarm territory. They moved through the enemy like ghosts, mapping structures, identifying command nodes, finding weaknesses. They transmitted data constantly. Every piece of information helped the defense. They're more organized than we thought, Bora reported. There's intelligence here, strategy. They're not just animals. They're studying us. Then we study them back, Songo said. Find their patterns. Find their limits. Find how to hurt them. It took 7 days of constant fighting. 7 days of humans showing Council forces what total war looked like. Not glorious. Not heroic. Just necessary. Grinding. Exhausting. Relentless. But something happened during those 7 days. The Council warriors changed. They stopped thinking like champions. Started thinking like soldiers. They stopped fighting for honor. Started fighting for survival. For each other. For the civilians depending on them. Summon found herself teaching a Council warrior named Velthik how to reload faster. Don't think about form. Think about speed. Perfect technique doesn't matter if you're dead. Velthik struggled. But honor? Honor is staying alive to protect people, Soman interrupted. Honor is doing what works. Everything else is pride, and pride gets people killed, Velthik practiced. Got faster. Stopped worrying about looking good. Started worrying about being effective. When he survived his next engagement because of the faster reloads, he understood. On day 8, the swarm retreated. Not defeated. Just pushed back. They'd learned that this target was too hard. Too costly. They'd return eventually. But not today. The defenders had won. Not through overwhelming force. Not through superior technology. Through cooperation. Through adaptation. Through doing what humans did best. Survive and teach others to survive. Vrennik called a meeting in what remained of Threshold 9's command center. Human and Council commanders together. We need to discuss what happened here. We fought, Deho said simply. Together. That's what happened. You changed everything, Vrennik said. Your 600 soldiers didn't just fight. They taught. They showed my 50,000 warriors a new way. A better way. In 8 days, you transformed the Council military more than 10,000 years of peace ever could. Hyunwoo had arrived on day 5 with supplies and reinforcements. Now he spoke carefully. Marshal, we didn't change your military. We showed them what they already had. Courage, skill, dedication. You just needed different organization, different tactics, different thinking. The capability was always there, but the knowledge wasn't, Vrennick said, and that's what I want to discuss. Earth has 40 million active military personnel. We have 2 million across 47 species. You have billions more who could fight if needed. We have nobody. Your regular soldiers did things our champions couldn't. Your specialists revolutionized our tactics. Your special operations forces showed us what precision means. What could we do together? Sujin understood where this was going. You want a permanent alliance? Joint training? Shared doctrine? I want survival, Vrennick said. The swarm will return. There might be worse things out there. The Council has been stagnant for millennia. Safe, comfortable, weak. Humanity is none of those things. Together we could protect the galaxy. All of it, every species, every world. At what cost? Jiwon asked. We can't turn the Council into warriors. That's not who you are. No, Vrennick agreed, but we can become protectors. There's a difference. Warriors seek battle. Protectors prevent it. You've shown us that distinction. Now teach us how to be both. The agreement took weeks to finalize. The Threshold 9 Accords, they called it. Earth would provide military advisors to all Council species. Council members would share their technologies and knowledge. Together, they'd build a new defense system, not based on champions, based on cooperation. Daeho's squad was assigned to a Council training facility. They'd teach basic infantry tactics. Yoonji would help develop communication protocols. Minyo would train heavy weapons operators. Hyuna would create combined medical doctrines. Taejin's team became roving instructors, moving from world to world, teaching, learning, building bridges between species and cultures. Seungho's operators trained Council special forces, not to make them human, to make them better at being themselves, to show them that precision and honor weren't opposites. A year later, Vrennick visited Earth. It was the first official visit by a Council marshal. He toured military academies, watched training exercises, met with Earth Command, and he gave a speech that was broadcast across the galaxy. We feared humanity. We saw their warriors and thought them monsters. We were wrong. Humans are not monsters. They are survivors, protectors, teachers. They come from a hard world that made them strong, but they chose to use that strength for others. That is what makes them special. Not their capabilities, their choices. He paused, his scales shifting through colors that meant respect. The Council has existed for 10,000 years. In that time, we created art, science, philosophy. We built wonders. We achieved peace, but we forgot danger. We forgot that the galaxy is vast and not everything in it is kind. Humanity remembered. They never forgot. And now they're teaching us to remember without teaching us to fear. Some say humans are too dangerous, that we should limit them, control them. I say we should learn from them, because they've shown us something we forgot. That true strength isn't the ability to destroy. It's the wisdom to protect, the courage to teach, the mercy to spare enemies, the discipline to choose peace even when war would be easier. In the audience sitting together were Daeho, Taejin, and Seungho, 3 levels of human military capability, regular, specialized, special operations. They'd become symbols of what humanity represented to the galaxy. After the speech, a young Council warrior approached them. Which of you is the most dangerous? She asked. The 3 humans looked at each other. Daeho answered, none of us. The most dangerous human is the one who refuses to fight, because that person has seen what warfare costs and chooses differently. We fight so others don't have to. We're dangerous so the galaxy can be safe. That's what humans do. That's what we taught the Council. And that's what makes us special, not our warriors, our choice to be more than warriors. The young warrior considered this. Then teach me to make that choice. That's why we're here, Daeho said. Back on Earth in a basic training facility, new recruits watched footage from Threshold 9. Their instructor, now Lieutenant Yuna Lee, paused the playback. You'll hear stories about human special forces, about how dangerous we are, how skilled, how unstoppable. Some of those stories are true, but here's what they don't tell you. The most important thing isn't how to fight, it's why to fight, and when not to. She pointed at the screen showing humans and Council forces working together. They were scared of us. They called us predators, apex warriors. They thought we were monsters. We proved them wrong, not by being weak, By being strong enough to be gentle, skilled enough to teach, dangerous enough that our mercy means something. The galaxy has billions of beings, thousands of species, millions of worlds. You might meet them someday. When you do, remember this. We're not special forces. We're just humans. And being human means protecting those who can't protect themselves. Teaching those who want to learn. Fighting only when peace fails. That's what makes us special. Not our training, our humanity. The recruits listened, learned, understood. They were joining a military that was feared across the galaxy. But they were also joining a tradition of service, of protection, of choosing to be better than their capabilities suggested. Out in the galaxy, the partnership continued. Human advisors on council worlds, council scientists on Earth, children of different species learning together, warriors training together, civilizations growing together. The swarm would return. Other threats would emerge. The galaxy would face dangers, but it would face them together, with human strength and council wisdom, with combined knowledge and shared purpose. And at the heart of it all was a simple truth that Deho had learned on that first day with the pirates. Being dangerous wasn't what mattered. Choosing what to do with that danger was everything. Humans were special forces, but they were also teachers, protectors, partners, friends. They were what the galaxy needed. Not because they were the strongest, because they chose to use their strength to lift others up. That was humanity's gift to the stars. Not warfare, wisdom. The wisdom to know that true victory wasn't defeating enemies. It was making enemies irrelevant by creating friends. And that was the story of how humanity, the galaxy's most feared warriors, became its most valued protectors. Not through conquest, through choice.